Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.2, in which I am attempting to make Kerbals a multiplanetary species. And here we have coming in the rescue craft to get Bill back home, along with a claw to deorbit the craft that he's in because I poorly designed his previous mission. He's stuck in a lander capsule and I forgot to put parachutes on, so good job me, but we are fixing it, and we are burning now to rendezvous. Such a pretty, like, they use real plumes so well with this with these models. I really like all of the near future stuff and cryo engines and advanced nuclear engines and all those things. They're just such pretty models, but like I said, I didn't want to complicate my install too terribly much. So we'll do with just this for now. Maybe someday in the future I'll do a mod with like Outer Planets mod and things like that. And then at that point, I will have a need for all of the near future stuff, but there's really not There's really not any need for it in my current install and the stock Kerbal system, because everything is really kind of small and close together, and if there's something that you can't get to with the nuclear engines, you're not going to be able to get there with the crazy Vasimir and things like that. What I find near future to be great at least the propulsion mod, is sending probes out anywhere in the system in huge Delta V budgets. So I want to grab this roughly near the center of mass, if at all possible. Bonk. Yeah, that was me not looking at it closely enough. I'm also turned in a bit of a weird way. Okay. Point directly at the center of mass. Let's use the nav ball a little bit. Problem is the target, where it's targeting, is way up on top, and that's not necessarily what we want. There we go. There. Now we've grabbed it kind of near the center of mass. Look at that. That's even right in between the two. Ha! That's pretty neat. Okay. Anyways. Open that up, and I don't need to actually... I was going to transfer over monopropellant, but I don't think that's actually necessary. Now that I think about it. So, transfer crew. Can I just transfer him straight down? Ah, that's fun. Cool. So Bill is now safely in our Mark 1 command pod. We're going to save the game. Control from here. Whip around to orbital retrograde. And let's ramp this up slowly. There we go. We're holding. We're holding pretty well. Using that monopropellant to hold this thing steady, because this is not quite well balanced. Alright, and we have a trajectory to smash this into Kerbin's atmosphere, so I don't have to worry about that any longer. And separate. Separate. Beautiful. There. Now I left that on there, and it will drop that into the atmosphere, and I don't have to worry about that anymore. Very cool. So now let's get ourselves a better return trajectory for this capsule, which entails pushing us up a little bit. And we will just hold on to these supplies and so forth. He was not very well fed. Bill didn't have supply. I think he had supplies on there, actually. What was it? I think it was habitation time that I was worried about. Yeah, so I've got 7 days left of that. And we are coming down. Okay, as we approach, this thing's actually going to be fine, I think. So I'm just going to F5 for safety. And then we are going to decouple. Kaboom! Off it goes. No SAS. That's not ideal, but I forgot that Bill was just an engineer and I had the actual probe down on that. But this should be aerodynamically stable, theoretically. There we go. Now we're catching the atmosphere a little bit as it starts to circle orbital or surface retrograde. But we're not coming in from high enough and hot enough that I think we will have any issue with this thing overheating. I do believe these dirt parachutes are occluded, which means I think we will be just fine. There's the transfer stage exploding. Now look at how cool that is. All these little bits and pieces streaking in. Ah, how neat. Yeah, so there was the mod that increases the effects of re-entry and particles and so forth, which I added to my install to prettify exactly this sort of situation. Whoa! What the heck? Those came out right away. And this thing is now coming down really fast. Oh dear. Bill also passed out for a second there due to the high G's of that thing coming out instantly this high in the atmosphere. I did not expect that. I hope... Gosh, I can't remember what the impact tolerance is for a vessel like this. I don't feel like these parachutes were meant to do what I'm doing to them. Oh, there it goes. Now the parachutes have fully deployed. Yeah, these I should have actually played with the settings on this. Yeah, 2,500 meters for full deploy and yeah. So anyways, these will work just fine and Bill will get down safely, but it's just going to take a little bit longer since they opened partially at like 13 kilometers and cut my speed to like 40 meters per second. And then now it's just very slowly dropping down. But it'll be a very safe recovery, I suppose. Okay, finally, Bill is just now about to splash down into the water very safely on these 3 parachutes. Kersploosh! Huzzah! Alright. We have recovered Bill, huzzah! Okay, so Jeb, Bill, and Gilry are coming back down in a vessel that you guys have not seen before. So, while I was doing all the shenanigans with the Duna craft leaving and everything else, and I have spent a little bit of time gathering some science. So, these 3 went around the moon with a whole bunch of KES experiments, and they did all those, and they came here with all the science packages that they could fit in here, and they've just been doing science and gathering that and gathering that and gathering that, and I've shown you guys something like that before, and I don't feel like I need to show it to you again. I mean, let me know if I'm wrong about that, but I don't think watching me farm science is terribly interesting. I think we're all here for the colonization, but correct me if I'm wrong. So I did want to show the aftermath of such an adventure. So let's get them back down to Kerbin's surface. All right, so we are just burning upwards so that our periapsis doesn't get too low as we shed a little bit of velocity coming in. Although I'm thinking that we are just about ready to kick off this lower stage and let re-entry just kind of ride. So we are coming on down. I am just dropping some additional speed while we are still very high in the atmosphere. So what I ended up doing is I ended up going into the moon's sphere of influence and doing both the high and low of each of these types of experiments, as well as all of this lovely stuff down in here. So I have a, what do you call it? I have like the mystery goo and the science junior, and it was mostly just gravity scans all day long that I wound up doing. So, all right, push up a little bit. I think at this point it doesn't really matter. So let's just kick this stage off. Hold surface retrograde, and hopefully, this SAS and the capsule SAS will be able to hold this thing steady, because I'm pretty sure that this thing's center of mass is like up here. I tried to reduce as much weight up at the top as I could, but I'm not sure that I was all that successful. So this will be coming down, and, you know, fingers crossed, I suppose. But yeah, we were just doing all the different science and getting a whole bunch of things, and we have something like 29 science experiments in our science container in there, as well as the 8 setup experiments from the KES NEMEA mod that I have installed and I never actually use lately. There's some stuff for the what do you call it, for like space station science that you can do, like set up space station science, and there's these which require EVA and assembly with Kerbal attachment system, and those are pretty neat, but they get it's a little bit tedious to be doing those in every biome, you know what I mean? So it's hard to go like, okay, well, we did this in low orbit, now we have to do it in high orbit. Okay, wonderful. Now we have to do it in Minmus low orbit and Minmus high orbit, etc., etc. It's the same thing every time, so it's not super interesting, I find. But it's something that I need to do because there's some stuff that's locked behind science barriers that we are unable to get to. So let's zoom out and take a look at the beautiful trails that we got from gosh, I can't remember the name of the mod that adds this, but there is a mod that I have installed that enables these beautiful, beautiful trails as things come back into the atmosphere and burn up. So it looks like this is holding very steady. I am pretty happy about that. We are just now getting into the thick part of the atmosphere, so the real test starts now. So we are hoping that this holds and the batteries hold. Looks like the batteries are going to be just fine. It's actually burning off more ablator than I thought it might. But yeah, this will be this looks like we are going to be just fine. Alright, we can see the SAS is just beginning to struggle. Thankfully, we are not out of the heat. Ha! So that worked out just fine. Although it's not great to be pointing like bulleting downwards into the airstream. So I end up doing this weird wiggly thing that I'm doing right now, because that presents a bigger surface to the airstream, which makes this a little bit safer and hopefully gets us to a place where we can open this parachute. And once we get that, then we should be just fine. And there it goes. We've got the big Space Y parachute, which... Ooh, we are rotating now. Come on, stop that. hopefully this big Space Y parachute is going to be able to bring this whole thing down safely. Why are you flipping? That is so bizarre. Stop doing that. There you go. This parachute is not quite open yet. I think this thing is slated to open at 1 kilometer. Yes, indeed. There should be plenty of time for this to cut the... There we go. And we're down to 5 meters per second. Beautiful. This is a big, flat parachute that will get this whole set of kit down safely. Beautiful. No disasters this time, thank goodness. I feel like a lot of times when I send something experimental home that I haven't tested, it's always really dicey to bring home manned capsules. I feel like I have more trouble with that than I do with launching things. The re-entry is what gets ya. Alrighty then, so just 30, 20 meters above the surface, 10, splashdown. And let's recover Jeb, Bill, and Gilry Kerman. Alright, and this is what I wanted to bring you guys here to see. 3,815 science from that mission. And this was just orbit around the moon, and some things from around Kerbin as well. You see there's some gravity scans that we did up there as well, but they're not worth a huge amount until you get to space high. Then the multiplier starts getting to be a little bit higher. But the data value around the moon itself is where things really get good. And then here's the orbital debris collector experiment. So this is one of the KES experiments that I did, and that was worth almost 500 on its own. This one was worth almost 700. So very cool. Now we have some science to play with, and we get a good amount of money back from all those parts, and everybody's home safe. Huzzah. Alright, so we only have a couple nodes left to unlock, and one of them I think needs to be experimental science, so I can get large ore holding tanks. The narrowband scanner, which I modded to be over here as well, but it unlocked, I guess, at some point in my last couple of play sessions. I guess probably when I reinstalled the game, I lost that tech unlock. So we'll just do it the normal way. This is where it will normally appear anyways. But there was so much stuff that we could do with the tech in these tiers that I didn't think that there was any need to wait this long. So, pop. We are not, in fact, going to unlock the Alcubierre drives. We do not have the cash for that at the moment, but one of the things that I would like to do, now that I have all this science done, is start working on something to get more cash. And I've heard from the man himself, Rover Dude, about a common method that people use to make a lot of money with this mod. I definitely want the new antenna and probe core, Mark II probe core. That's kind of nice. And big batteries. That's pretty cool. But yeah, there's some new shiny ways to make money. And basically they just build a tourist base. Like, not tourist. That's not the right word. That actually means something else. They build a base specifically for colonists. And that's it, like just colonists and supplies and habitation time for them, and then they just reap the colony rewards, and you can actually make a lot of money doing that apparently. So I thought that sounds like much more fun than screwing around with contracts that I don't feel like doing. I don't think I need these unless I want to do like manned or like automated return of my big stacks, which I mean might be fine, but I'm not sure is necessary. Ooh, rapier and saber engines. That's exciting. Okay, cool. There, we still have some things to look forward to, so still some things to unlock, but we are much closer now to having everything in the tech tree. All right, so we are checking in on the Star Lifter shuttle to make absolutely certain that we are ready to leave for Duna. So we have everything we need, I believe. Let's take a double check here. We have plenty of enriched uranium. That's slated to last for years, so that's going to be fine. We've got fuel and oxidizer, and I've planned my trajectory out so that I'm pretty sure that that is going to work. Fertilizer and supplies, plenty of machinery as well, so that should be good to go. So they are 2.5 hours from their periapsis around Kerbin, from which they are going to use the Oberth effect as best as they can, because when they are moving faster, their potential energy from all of their kinetic, potential kinetic energy will be higher because they're moving faster. Which is a funky bit of science that we will use to get out of this orbit very quickly and break free from... Whoa, that is a really weird bug. There's clouds. But we will be breaking free from Kerbin's orbit. And as you can see, we are increasing speed dramatically as we drop in closer. All right, we are just about 2 minutes away, and we are now close enough that the clouds have fixed themselves. Very nice. All right, our supplies look wonderful. I think we should have plenty. We are pointing down our maneuver node. Our nuclear reactor is working away. We have everything we need. Go away, node. Pachoom. $33, $32, $31. Burn! All right, so we're taking an orbit that was already very close to hyperbolic and just accelerating a little bit, which is going to get us out on a trajectory to leave the sphere of influence of Kerbin on the way to Duna. And we will have a little bit of a course correction once we have left, but after that we will be leaving them on their journey. All right, just a 30-second burn left over, and we actually have cleared up all of the immediate missions that I have moving back and forth. So everybody's landed, everybody's safe, or they're, on their way out. There are still some construction that I would like to do of Minty Station. So I'm thinking that I might be expanding that and getting that base set up with material kit production, special parts production, and so forth, and get that place ready to actually build its own rockets, because I'd like to be able to build and launch rockets from Minmus. I think that would be really cool. I would also like to set up, I think I was just talking about a basically a cache base on the lunar surface, which would allow us to make some money on Kerbal's colonists that are sent out to live on the moon, and they will also build up the colony rating and so forth, the geology, botany, and colonization rating. Maybe I'll do that on Minmus, another place on Minmus, away from Minty Station and everything else, just so that it's sharing the same colonization bonuses. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to go. I like the idea of having more than one planet, more than one body with Kerbals on them. So we will just have to see what we'll end up doing. I think I may end up doing both in the fullness of time, but I can only do one thing at a time, obviously, and each one of those is a fairly major construction project that is also going to require a fairly tremendous amount of time of mine off camera in building these really crazy contraptions and getting everything ready, because it takes a a fairly significant amount of time to design and plan these missions. So we will see about doing that, and I'm thinking that we'll probably end up doing the moon-based stuff first so we can get some cash rolling, but that is going to have to start next time. If you liked this episode, please go ahead and leave me a like and subscribe down below. Let me know what you think, and also what kind of missions you'd like to see going forward, and I will see you in the next episode.